Welcome, Jay. Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited to have you here. So the topic for today, this is a Smith.ai Masters Series webinar. I'm Maddy Martin. I'm the Senior Vice President of Growth at Smith.ai. I've been here for 8.5 years now, which thrills
Wow.
me every time I get to say that. And one of the joys of my job is getting to host these webinars with experts like Jay Berkowitz. So let me tell you a little bit about the topic that he's going to present on today and a little bit about Jay, and then he'll take it from there. So the topic today is AI SEO secrets, getting your firm listed in Google AI overviews and ChatGPT. Some of the things you'll learn are how to structure your content to appear in Google AI overviews and ChatGPT results, how to leverage AI-driven prompts to generate smarter content faster, what types of searches trigger AI visibility and which ones drive high value traffic, the surprising power of FAQs, schema markup, and entity-based SEO, and then how to leverage your blog, videos, and case results to shape AI-generated summaries while flexing your brand authority, because authority always wins, even for local firms. So with that said, let me introduce you to Jay Berkowitz, our guest speaker today. So Jay is the CEO and founder of 10 Golden Rules. He's the best-selling author, an international keynote speaker, and award-winning digital marketing expert with over 25 years of experience. And he has led marketing for major brands, including Coca-Cola, Sprint, McDonald's, and AT&T. He served as a faculty member for the University of San Francisco's Internet Marketing Program and many other accomplishments, including being the CEO of 10 Golden Rules, which is a Boca Raton-based marketing agency specializing in law firms. And he hosts the 10 Golden Rules of Internet Marketing podcast. So he's a recognized thought leader. He's been featured in many media outlets, including the Wall Street Journal, Fox Business, and major industry events where you may have seen him, including Inc. 500, PILMA, and the Legal Marketing Association. So without further ado, I'm so pleased to bring to you today Jay Berkowitz. Jay, take it away.
Well, Maddie, thank you so much for having me, and what a great introduction. I'll bring you on the road with me. So today we're going to talk about AI SEO secrets, and I will share a few secrets. But it's all about, how can we get our law firms into these new answer engines? And basically what we're talking about today is Google has started showing a ChatGPT style answer right at the top of Google. And if you hadn't realized this, now it'll be clear, like, oh yeah, I'm seeing these all the time right at the very top of Google. And the cool opportunity for us as marketers, as law firm owners, is that Google is showing their homework. Basically, these websites on the right-hand side are the websites they use to compile the answer. And so in the early days, ChatGPT wasn't showing their homework. They are now. But the cool thing is we can now get links has two functions basically in SEO. One is you get a link. It makes your site more important in the eyes of the search engines. But in this case, we want links from Google to our website. And on ChatGPT, they weren't sending any traffic. So now we're getting some traffic. And here's an example of ChatGPT. This was the first one I saw with links. This is my friend Spencer Ehrenfeld, who's a cruise accident expert in Miami. And he came up in this search. So could we do just a really quick poll, Maddie? Can we use the chat function
Sure.
for the folks who are advanced and they really think they have this SEO stuff figured out? This will help me in the presentation. Are you just looking for those super advanced tips? Just put A in the chat if you're super advanced. Thank you. And if you're kind of a newbie and your boss said, go to this webinar, I want you to figure out how to get us in AI. Put N in the chat. And if you don't like raising your hand at conferences, put M for you're somewhere in the middle. You're not the superstar and you're not just starting out. All right. Well, thank you so much for playing along. We got a whole bunch of those. Let me see if I can find it here. Okay. We got some N's. We got some M's. All right. And one A. Okay, good. Logan, you're gonna help me answer the questions at the end. So congratulations and thank you so much for being here. The people who take time and learn and educate themselves are easily the top 5% of the industry. And I see it over and over and over. Like the folks who I see at the conferences are way further ahead than the people that I meet that are just trying to figure out how to build their law firm, and they don't invest the time in the education. So you guys are definitely part of the elite. And if you're not the owner of the law firm, it's definitely going to move your career ahead. So what are we going to try and do today? We're going to talk about how to get your website listed in Google AI overviews and ChatGPT answers. I'm going to talk about the size and scope of the market. We're going to talk about building your brand and authority. Very, very important for AI powered results. We're going to do some basic and advanced tips, some code and some prompts. So, whether you're just starting out or whether you're, looking for that elite level idea, hopefully I have a couple for you today. I have a free workbook for you, and I'll tell you a little bit more about me. So I'll show this again later on, but if you're watching on the recording or whatever, you can grab this here, or you can go to 10goldenrules.com/hot trends if you'd like to take notes or whatever, or you want to get some more information about things like Google Maps and LSAs. We're going to cover the AI stuff in detail today. You can just scan this here or go to 10goldenrules.com/hot trends. So I grew up right in the middle of Canada, in beautiful Winnipeg, Canada. It probably looks a lot like this right now at City Park, but most of the year it looks like this. And people are actually skating on the duck pond in City Park. It's really, really cold. One day it was colder in Winnipeg than it was on Mars. But we got super lucky. My wife, Bonnie, and our little guy, Parker, we live in beautiful Boca Raton now for 24 years down here in Florida. And life looks a lot like that. Early in my career, I was super lucky. I worked on some great advertising and marketing campaigns. I was a director of marketing at Coca-Cola. And I worked both for the ad agency and as a director of marketing for McDonald's Restaurants of Canada. And I sold some of the most delicious but high fat, high calorie foods in the entire world. And I went directly from McDonald's to ediets.com. And I moved to Florida to work at a startup. And we grew this diet startup to $60 million in revenue. And I had this incredible opportunity back in 2002 and 2003. We were one of the top 5 largest advertisers on the internet in the entire world. And so I really got to learn what were banners that would bring people to the website. And we were doing A/B testing on the website. We built a huge email list back in 2002. And I was asked to speak at the Direct Marketing Association and to share our eDiets journey. And I said, well, I want to go one further. I'm going to share my entire 10 golden rules of online marketing, including a bunch of great eDiets examples. And I wrote this book in the presentation, The 10 Golden Rules of Online Marketing. These 2 books were Amazon bestsellers. This is my new book specifically for law firms, Advanced Internet Marketing for Law Firms. And interestingly enough, back in 2018, I wrote Digital Future 2020, and I was talking about AI and Bitcoin and blockchain back in 2018. So I have a little bit of credibility to talk about this stuff. I've been doing it for a long time. Our company, 10 Golden Rules, does internet marketing for law firms. These are some of the amazing companies we work with all across the country. And well, actually, these folks are up in Canada. And our YouTube channel is over 1 million views now. So if you like these kinds of presentations, there's lots of great content on YouTube, including this mini case study, lots of great case studies. And I'll just quickly share how Brian Garrett, when he said in the webinar that he called 10 Golden Rules because he wasn't ranking for almost anything. Now as he says it, he ranks for almost everything. He's ranking for over 1,000 keywords now on the search engines. And he went from signing 5 or 10 cases a month to signing 35 or 45 cases a month. So you can find out how we did it and how he did it on our YouTube channel. Last note, if you've fallen off the Google cliff, we do these kind of audits for firms. If you feel like, you were doing really well and you were growing in Google, lots and lots of keywords coming up, and then all of a sudden you disappeared, definitely give us a call, come to 10 Golden Rules, or reach out to us on the chat during this conference. So without further ado, let's learn the AI SEO secrets. I guess they won't be secrets anymore after this, right, Maddie?
Right.
So as we talked about, what we're focused on today are the AI overviews, the Google Chat GPT style answers that they're showing right at the top of search. And how do we get these links to our website? How can we actually come up in these searches and get traffic to our website? And these type of links in Chat GPT. Now, first, I just want to set the playing field, if you will. Google calls their Chat GPT style results AI overviews, but in reality, Google's little sister, YouTube, owned by Google, is about 19 billion searches a day. ChatGPT is only about a billion searches a day, less than 5%. So there's a ton of hype and they deserve it. ChatGPT's grown to a billion searches, I think 5 times faster than Google did. But in reality, we're going to talk a lot about Google today because there's we're talking about a massive, 800-pound gorilla, if you will. Look at the difference in views, daily visits for Google and YouTube compared to everyone else on the internet. So first and foremost, I would recommend your AI SEO strategy has to be based around those Google AI overviews. And secondarily, we're going to give you some specific tips for ChatGPT. But really, the big dog in the hunt here is Google. And we used to really focus on SEO, and of course we still do. It's still super valuable and super important. But we could argue that today there's a new strategy, a new philosophy, and we're calling it AEO in the industry. We're not sure, like a lot of people are calling it GEO, generative and engine optimization. But if you really think about it, the difference between the way we search today and the way we searched in the past, and I'll talk more about that, is these new engines are answering questions. So AEO, getting featured in the answers to questions, is the new SEO, if you will. So we talked about these results on Google. This is a search for how do I choose a car accident attorney? And when I click show more, it shows me more of the websites that Google used to compile the answer. It shows these little links on each of these sub answers, if you will. And those are actually links to your website. So this is the traffic that we're looking for. This is the search opportunity we're looking for. And by the way, it's super important because these results a lot of times are answering our questions. And if you think about it as a consumer or think about it as one of your prospects, like if you would have asked a question, how do I choose a car accident attorney 6 months ago? Google would have shown the best SEO results. This is a paid ad. This is sponsored. Google would have shown these SEO results here at the very top of the page. And people would have clicked and they would have gone to BB Law Group or Money or Kohlmeyer Law Group. And they would have read a blog post about how do I choose a car accident attorney. Now, they're only in the initial phases of their research, but who knows? They might have called the firm, filled out a form, or done a chat, asked you a few questions, and you might have captured that lead very early on in the search process. Now, if Google satisfies their need for their answer to their question, they're not necessarily going to click to a law firm early in that search. I have a prediction, and I always like to get these on tape. So thanks, Maddy, for letting me put this on record. And I like to do these predictions. And if you look at Google's Maps results, they're sneaking an ad a lot of times. We used to call it the 3-pack in the industry, and Google normally shows 3 results, but this one is a sponsored. So this guy's actually running an ad, and there's 4 of these red dots in the map results. Well, my prediction is very soon we're going to start seeing a sponsored ad or multiple sponsored ads coming up at the top of these AI overviews. And it's very simple. Google has $250 billion a year in search revenue. They're going to have to monetize these results. But today we're seeing, we're not seeing the ads. I mocked this up. Today we're not seeing the ads. And I believe the reason is Google is defending their turf. They're showing us really, really great answers. They're doing their best to match ChatGPT quality for quality, and they're trying to retrain us. You don't have to open another app. You don't have to go to Claude or Perplexity or ChatGPT. Just use Google like you always did, and we'll give you a great answer. As I mentioned, ChatGPT is showing links as well. So we'll talk about how to optimize. I teased this a minute ago. We're seeing that the AI style answers at what we call the top of the funnel in the industry, in the marketing industry. We call the top of the funnel when you're just doing your research. And typically there's lots and lots of people at the top of the funnel. So if somebody's just starting the research and they were in a car accident and they're just starting to realize, like, hey, maybe my insurance company, maybe Nationwide's not on my side. And they're starting to realize, like, maybe I will need a lawyer to really get my car repairs paid for and to pay for all my medical. And I've been through 3 car accidents, and I learned the hard way that, you really need a lawyer to fight for you in a lot of these instances. So the early searches, when you're just asking a question, typically are the ones where Google's going to show these AI overviews. And partway through the search, it could be a little of both, but typically, again, they're just going to answer the question for you. But when you get very specific and you're ready to buy, what we call the bottom of the funnel, typically we're going to see the Google results we're used to for the last couple of years: the local service ads, the paid ads, the maps results, the SEO. And so this is still our more traditional opportunity. And these AI opportunities are typically earlier on when people are just doing their research. So the first strategy is to answer questions. And it sounds obvious now. We called it AEO, answer engine optimization. But literally, you want to answer questions on your website. And part of this we've been talking about for 3 or 4 years now, 10 Golden Rules, because Google has rewritten their algorithms over the last 4 or 5 years to understand semantics, to understand human language, and to be able to answer questions in the form of a sentence. If you think back, and it's hard now because it's gotten so much better over the last 3 or 4 years, you used to have to put in, like, accident lawyer, and then Google would show you people from all over the country, and then you'd put car accident lawyer near me, and you'd refine your search until Google gave you a really good answer in your area. Well, now Google has gotten super smart. You can ask a question to Siri, Alexa, Google Voice, and literally you can ask the question just by speaking. You don't have to type in clunky search phrases anymore. So if you think of it, the way we search is we literally ask a question. And so what we're going to do in SEO and AEO is literally answer the questions. So this is my friend and client, Jeff McDonald in Richmond, Virginia, and he's answering a question: what happens if I get hit by an Uber? And then what we do is we search engine optimize that video. So we put literally the title of the videos, what happens if I get hit by an Uber, on YouTube, and then we use that video on a blog on his website. And literally what we're doing is AEO, answer engine optimization. We're answering a question by using the question as the name of the page, the title of the blog post, the title of the video, and we're using tags and different SEO to optimize for question and answer. We're also going to use that video very cost effectively in social media, and we'll see how important that is. We can send it out in the newsletter and get referrals, and we're also going to use it in Google Maps. And as I said earlier, Google and YouTube, obviously the sister site, YouTube, owned by Google. Think of Google Maps as your own little micro website that you lease from Google, because if you ever do anything wrong, they're going to pull it away from you. So you don't actually own your Google Maps, but in fact, you lease it from Google for free. It's great. But this is like a mini website where you want to add content on a regular basis, to search engine optimization, so that you're adding content to the website on a regular basis. So here's an actual AEO, answer engine optimization result for Jeff McDonald. Can you get laid off while on light duty? And Google used one of Jeff's blogs to answer the question, to compile the results in that question. Another area that's definitely intrinsically connected is the people also ask. And basically, Google didn't build this algorithm in like the last 6 months just to keep up to ChatGPT. They've been, refining their algorithm, as I said, for the last 4 or 5 years, to understand semantics, to understand human language, to answer questions. And now they've basically just started refining those answers by actually answering the question with AEO, but with AI overviews, right? So this section of the website, the people also ask. So here's a question: is it worth suing after a car accident? And our client Brian Garrett, who we met earlier, he has the #1 answer in the world according to Google at the very top of the people also ask section. So on your website, you want to create great content, right? Is it worth suing after a car accident? Is literally the name of the page. We've got a video called Is it worth suing after a car accident? Then we've got a blog post all about car accidents and is it worth suing after a car accident? So answer engine optimization. We're optimizing for a question and an answer so that we come up in the Google search results. So where do you get these great questions? Well, this is Mildred, and she's our receptionist at 10 Golden Rules. Just kidding. This is a really old photo. But one of the things you can do is you can give Mildred a clipboard, and literally we've done this with many, many law firms for many, many years now. And for the intake team and for the receptionist, and even for the attorneys, we want to keep track of all the questions we get asked. And we're going to use those questions in question and answer videos and blog posts that go on our YouTube and on our website. Again, answer engine optimization. We're looking for the questions that people are asking that we're going to answer. Another great place to find questions is on your site search. So on our website, if I click search and I do a search for internet marketing, you can actually get the data of the phrases that people have searched on your internal website. And that's a great place when they come to your website. What questions do they have? And you're going to answer those questions. Here's a fantastic tool called Answer the Public. You can put a keyword in, and it gives you a number of variants of different phrases that people ask that include that keyword. So the first strategy is to actually literally answer questions in answer engine optimization. The second strategy that's bubbling up with the LLM, large language models, another name for the answer engines, is to become an authority. And it's becoming clear that the LLMs, like Jay Berkowitz answering questions, even more than 10 Golden Rules. So unfortunately, if you don't want to be on camera, if you don't want to be that expert, unfortunately, you're going to have to step up now. And it's a tremendous opportunity for people as individuals. A lot of times we meet folks who are attorneys at firms and they're thinking of maybe going out on their own one day. So now it's a great time when you're going to start answering these questions on your own, and we'll show you where to do that. So here's a search for how do I choose a car accident attorney. Of course, we've got the AIO right at the very top. This is an SEO result. And what do we see here? Well, we talked about the people also ask. So Google's showing you other questions that people ask that are very similar to this question. And then what do we see? Oh, we got another SEO result. Okay, we see videos. Interesting. I noticed that the videos, it's been 6 or 7 years before, Google used to show the videos. They weren't showing the videos a lot. Now they're showing the videos a lot. And ChatGPT shows videos a lot in their results. Oh, and what else do we have? He says as he's trying to reverse engineer the algorithms. We're starting to see Reddit all the time now, and Quora, question and answer engines. He says, right? So first strategy, YouTube videos. Awesome strategy. We basically have 3 kinds of videos that we do for our clients. Number 1 is the Q&A videos that I talked about earlier with Jeff McDonald, where you're literally optimizing to answer a question and ask, literally the name of the video is the question that you would ask. And the way you get at it is one of the questions we get asked all the time is, what do I do if I get hit by an Uber? So that's category number 1. Category number 2 are social media videos. We'll talk more about those a little bit later. And category number 3 are long form videos. And Jeff Hampton, great podcast and webinar with Jeff on my YouTube channel. Jeff was also a speaker at our conference, TGR Live, Growth Strategies for Law Firms. And he was amazing. Everybody loved this guy, and everybody signed up for his training program. How did an attorney get 6.8 million views, 5 million views, 2.2 million views? He even has 473,000 subscribers. So a great approach to create video, position yourself as an expert. And Jeff's actually done it twice now He's done it for Hampton Law. He's principally a criminal attorney. He's also done it. He's a Airbnb attorney. He owns a number of Airbnbs as investments. He's used the same strategy to create Airbnb attorney expertise. He can do national Airbnb attorney consulting, and he's built a whole business around a YouTube channel about being an Airbnb attorney. So answering questions, long form content. Okay, what's the secret sauce? What is getting listed in websites? A recent study by Profound that we in the industry seem to be believing a little bit. None of this stuff's perfect, right? There's no perfect research tool out there. But what's the key insight? What's this top source that these AEOs, answer engines, are using? ChatGPT, top source, Wikipedia. Heavy reliance on Wikipedia. Reddit is a distant second. Google AI, number one is Reddit. Very interesting. Google's AI overviews is citing, so when they in the links on the right hand side, is citing Reddit more than even YouTube that Google owns. Perplexity, number one, Reddit. Strong preference for community generated content, right? Community generated content. That's where you go out and become the expert as an individual by answering videos, writing blogs, answering questions on your own site and other websites so that you become the authority. Here's an example of Reddit with a whole bunch of links to car accident attorneys. Quora with links to car accident attorneys answering questions about what to do after an auto accident. So the opportunity is to become an expert. Press releases, great strategy for becoming an expert. One of the things we do for our clients is we actually write a blog, we write an article, we pitch the article to the journalist, and then if in this case she sold it to USA Today, they approved the article, we finished the article, they made a couple small edits, and we wrote an article about rideshare wrecks and got a couple of our clients featured as the experts in a major publication article and lots of local minor publications using that same strategy. Also, industry publications are really good. So this attorney got featured in an article she wrote for super lawyers. So become an expert and authority. And then strategy number 3, what can you do on your website? You know, when old-fashioned SEO, we used to talk about on-page strategies and off-page strategies. So, and I say we used to talk about like yesterday. So, you know, we still do tons of SEO, still very, very important, of course. On-page strategies is the code on the website, the content you write, the articles you write, the videos, the pictures you add to your website to search engine optimize your website. Off-page strategies were link building, right? Other sites that link to your website make your site more popular. Well, in AEO, answer engine optimization, you can also do things on your website to make your website more likely to get listed in the answer engines. So some of the things we're going to do on the website, you want to cover topics comprehensively. You want to use detailed explanations and real examples. Bulleted lists come up all the time. So if you write a really good article, answer the question right at the top of the page, and then have a bulleted list, a lot of times we're seeing these bulleted lists coming up in the AI overviews, the ChatGPTs, the Perplexity answers. Frequently asked questions. So many websites have like 5 FAQs, frequently asked questions on their website. Now's a great time to revisit your FAQs, write 30 or 40 FAQs, maybe drop a video in the FAQs to boost its authority. The YouTube video, obviously Google understands the YouTube algorithm, and then answer a whole bunch more questions. And a natural place to put them is the FAQs on your website. Local community is important. So building your brand in the community, building links in the communities. My friend and client, Jeffrey Meldon, is a big sponsor of the Florida Gators, and he's, you know, up there in Gator country with 4 or 5 offices. You want to build local links, really good, important links like .edus, .govs, all very, very important for SEO and AEO. Now, Maddy, I wouldn't be doing justice if I didn't throw a few of the advanced tips in, right?
You've got it right. Let's hear it.
You want a few of them? Like, is that okay if I share
Yeah,
some?
that would be fantastic. I think we're ready.
I mean, all this stuff's so new, frankly, that most of it is advanced content, right?
I agree.
The first thing we've dabbled around this, you want to publish with regular cadence to become a known entity. So we do a webinar every month at 10 Golden Rules. We do a podcast every week. And that's really been great for me because every week we publish in content. And then we take those, the podcasts and the webinars. And if Maddie's nice and she shares this recording with me, we'll break it up into 5 or 10 short little clips where we explain something, and we'll put those out as social media videos. That's become very, very effective to build your entity, to build yourself as an authority figure. Get published in other articles. I got published in PILMA, the Personal Injury Lawyers Marketing and Mastermind, and taking our content and putting it on all of our social media to extend the value of that content. Here's another advanced tip. Come up with proprietary data. Works very, very well in the LLMs. So coming up with a study of, the deadliest roads in your marketplace or the most dangerous intersections in your marketplace. Old trick, but works great in the LLMs. Advanced website code. So some people don't know this. You can still view the code on any website. We used to do it more frequently back in the good old days. But you go to a website like Jeff McDonald's beautiful new website. And if you right click on your mouse, it brings up a menu and you can click to view page source. And some of the best code you can have is schema code for LLMs. Now, schema code, here we're getting into the advanced stuff. And by the way, if you're an attorney, this is a great question to ask your agency. Do we have schema code on our website? Because that's a great way to differentiate someone who's doing the basics or maybe doing some of the advanced stuff. And this has been around for about 10 years. So Google and Yahoo and Overture and all the, Ask Jeeves, all the search engines got together and they said, wouldn't our lives be a lot easier if there was standard code for some basic things like local business? And guess what? There's a local business schema where you put in your address into the code on the website, and then it's super easy for the search engines to grab an address, the organization, the name of the company. There's a specific code that Google wants to see for legal service, for attorney, for FAQ pages. So if there's a standard code that's going to make it easy for the search engines to find you, you should use the standard code. And when they started out, there was 10 or 12 things like locations and your Google star rating and reviews and things like that. Now there's over 800 schemas because they've there's so many more things that they want to standardize and so many more things that we want to be listed for. So some of the most valuable schema codes for AEO, answer engine optimization, is the FAQ schema code. And this is a screenshot from Google Search Central. So Google gives you all the information about how to write this structured data so that it's very easy for Google to find it and read it. There's also a question and answer schema that you can use. And obviously, if you make it easy for Google to find your question and answers, you've got a great chance to come up in the AIOs, and it's going to work for all the other AEOs as well. Article schema. So article, news article, and blog posting, structured data. Again, simple code that you're going to tell Google, this is an article. There's even code that makes it easy to read on mobile, to read a blog on mobile. That simplified text you see sometimes, that's a schema code that makes it super easy to just read the text. Now, here's a couple super advanced strategies. And this one is called schema stacking. So basically, you're going to use 5 different schemas on the same page. FAQ page, video object, speakable, and article schema on the same page. This one's really for the super advanced, the Google gurus. And here's another one, summary authority content. Basically, you're going to create short, digestible answers, 300 to 500 word answers for a question, but you're going to put that in 5 or 6 different places. So you're going to put an answer on LinkedIn. You're going to put an answer on Medium, an answer on Substack, an answer on Quora, an answer on Reddit. And you're going to point to yourself as the expert because you answered this question in 5 different places. Summary, authority, content, stacking. Okay. Now we've also said we'd talk a little bit about the different answer engines. So what and how you get ranked on a couple of them. So what are first of all, what is the playing field look like? So first and foremost, we talked a lot about Google, and they call their public facing result AI overviews. Google's I think they've renamed their AI engine. They were calling it Bard. Now it's called Google Gemini. The product you use if you want to go and create ChatGPT style questions is Gemini. And essentially, AI Overviews is the public facing answer engine of Google Gemini, or Google's backend product. The same way ChatGPT is owned by a company called OpenAI, and ChatGPT is our public facing company. Now, Grok has recently got a tremendous amount of respect because it's was created by X, by Elon Musk, and he's basically done it in 18 months, which is mind blowing. And people are saying Grok is outperforming everybody else, especially for uh, AI for writing code and things like that. So it's amazing. The other thing that's super advantageous for X AI, which is Grok, is that it's pulling data from everything on X, on Twitter, right? X and Twitter, same thing. So these engines need to learn, large language models. They need to learn. They need content to create the answers. So obviously, Google has a ton of content, but not as much that they own, that they created. ChatGPT doesn't own a lot, but they partnered with Microsoft where they get a lot of original content. So Grok through Twitter has tons of amazing content. And then also through Tesla, they're building every Tesla's cameras are sharing information with these AI engines. A couple other ones, Perplexity and Claude, very specific and specifically good at different things. And some of the experts, like one of my buddies, just absolutely loves Claude, says it's way better, way more reliable than ChatGPT, because ChatGPT will hallucinate, is what they call it, make up answers, even in the paid product, even in the corporate product. So here's that study we looked at before from Profound. The source is Profound. Got to give these guys credit. They looked at, I don't know, 10 trillion searches or something. And basically they said, where is Google AI Overviews getting their citations? A citation is like the answer to the question, which are the websites they use to compile the answers most frequently. And it's amazing if you look at these results, because Reddit is actually used more in Google than Google's YouTube product. So, one of the places Google is getting their data is from YouTube videos, right? The data they need to compile answers. And so super awesome that Reddit is popping up here. And then what's our opportunity? You definitely want to create a Reddit profile. You want to create a Quora profile. You want to create YouTube videos to be seen as an authority. Some of the other places, LinkedIn, Gartner, NerdWallet, Forbes, Wiki. Wiki's pretty small on Google AI Overviews. So I have a simple tip, a mid-level strategy, and an advanced strategy for AI. And we it's kind of summing up some things we talked about. So the simple tip for AI Overviews: use clear question and answer formatting with headings like "What is?" or "How do I?" Remember that answer engine optimization. Answer questions. Write short, concise answers, 30 to 50 words, near the top of the page to align with the response style. So basically, you're going to create a little snippet of an answer that the LLM can just grab and place in the answer. Mid-level strategy: build topic clusters. So a topic cluster, we talked about, like answering, a question 4 or 5 different ways. What to do after a car accident? What information do you need to collect after a car accident? What information will your insurance company need after a car accident? What information will your lawyer need after a car accident? Create pillar content. So pillars are typically, like, a lot of times if you search now for car accident attorney or internet marketing agency, you'll find that maybe 8 of the top 10 pages that Google shows in the SEO results are 3,000-4,000 or 2,000-3,000 word pages with a long page with bulleted lists and answers to the question and a video. So a pillar page is a very comprehensive page with a very comprehensive answer to that specific page. You're going to have supporting pages with subtopics and a logical linking structure. And the advanced tip is the EEAT signals, which is the expertise, the authority, and the trust. So that's part of becoming the expert, doing things like author bios, citations of authoritative citations from authoritative sources. We talked about that, writing articles in your industry, client case studies, Reddit, YouTube, and Quora content where you're answering questions and it's pointing to you as an expert. And then we look at ChatGPT, and the top results from the Profound study are very different. So they're leaning very, very heavily on Wikipedia. So obviously, in your best interest to get cited in Wikipedia, create Wikipedia pages, but that's not easy these days. You have to have a lot of credibility. You've got to have, 10 major news articles to create your own Wikipedia page. Also, number two is Reddit, and then some of the other players, Forbes, some more B2B stuff like Tech Radar, NerdWallet does really well. So some ChatGPT tips. Simple tip: create high quality, authoritative, relevant content that answers common legal questions. Okay. ChatGPT prefers content recognized for reliability. So that speaks to getting listed on other places as the expert answer to those questions. Mid-level strategy: amplify your brand mentions and citations across the web. Legal directories, press articles, we talked about those. ChatGPT ties reputation to brand signals. And the advanced play: use AEO, conversational Q&A formatted content, optimize heading, bulleted lists, FAQ sections with structured markup, which is another name for schema. And of course, we want to have a Wikipedia page if we can, and be cited in Wikipedia. So with that, how are we doing it? We're doing pretty good on time. We can
Yeah, we're
take
doing
some
well.
questions. Yeah. So I'll sum up quickly. So the way to think about this category of coming up for the AI searches is answer engine optimization. So I would argue that search engine optimization isn't going away anytime soon. In particular, Google Maps is right at the top of search results. Lots of people want to use the Google Maps still. Lots of people want to find a lawyer near them or a marketing agency near them. Some people don't care. They want the best in the world. But some people love the maps. And the maps algorithm is like joined at the hip with the regular SEO algorithm. So you still have to do SEO, you still have to do map SEO. But the new evolution for these LLMs, large language models or answer engines, is answer engine optimization. And we talked about some of the basic strategies. Number one, answer questions. Find out what keep track of the questions that your clients are asking. And here's an advanced strategy that I'm using. We're using an AI called Fathom to record all our calls. And we wrote a script. And this is an advanced script, so I'll share it. And it's Jeff Moore wrote a great book called AI Driven Leader. And he talks about CRIT. This one's so good, you want to write this one down. CRIT: context, role, interview, and task. So what we did is we said the context of this GPT, and you can do this in any of the engines. We want you to analyze all of these calls, so sales calls and client calls, and we want you to come up with 20 of the most frequently asked questions. And then your role is one of the world's leading business consultants. And we're telling this to a GPT, right? We want you're one of the world's leading business consultants, and your job is to pull questions that our clients have asked in sales meetings and in regular client meetings, and to compile the answers that we've given on these calls into question and answer format. Interview: so CRIT, context, role, interview. Interview me. I want you to ask me 3 questions, non-consecutive. Wait for the answer before answering the next question. and ask me five clarifying questions about the context, the role, your role, and the task. It's amazing how good the questions are. Like the world's highest end business consultant asks you these questions, and they ask really good questions. And then the final thing is the task. Okay, your specific task is you're going to listen to these, 20 phone calls or 50 phone calls. You can download them into the engine, and I want you to give me the 20 most frequently asked questions and compile the answers the way we answer these questions. Very, very powerful. CRIT. And I use it all the time. I used it to recently to hire my COO, or if you're familiar with EOS, the entrepreneurial operating system, we hired a new integrator, and I downloaded 5 interviews from Fathom. I download the job description. I said, you're one of the world's leading hiring consultants. So the context is I want you to help me finalize my candidates or prioritize my candidates. I downloaded the job description, which had like 6 bullets. So it ranked each of the 5 candidates by each of the 6 bullets. I also downloaded their DISC profiles and their PI, predictive index profiles. And so I said, context, you're going to help me hire this person. Role, you're one of the world's leading consultants on hiring and business consulting. Interview, ask me 5 non-consecutive questions before you complete your task. Task is help me rank these candidates. It's amazing how powerful CRIT is. That is my advanced prompt training. Okay. So strategy 1, answer questions. Strategy 2, build authority. How are you going to do that? YouTube videos. Answer questions on Reddit. Answer questions on Quora. Answer LinkedIn articles and articles in your industry publications. Some things you can do on your website. You're going to create bulleted lists, build out your frequently asked questions, and add schema code. Some of the advanced tips, I think I just covered some of those. And with that, I'm going to wrap up and take some questions. One thing I like to ask, if you think this content is good, relevant, I'd love to speak at your local bar association. If you're in, the trial lawyers association in your state, and you think this will be relevant, this is how I've sort of built my business from day one. I spoke at the Direct Marketing Association. I'd love you for a recommendation to speak to your group. And with that, we can take some questions.
Wonderful. Let's do it. So the first question that we have is related to schema markup and WordPress. So if you have a WordPress site, Rocky said that he was going to ask the question of how to accomplish that, but he asked ChatGPT, and it says use Rank Math SEO Pro version. He said that offers schema for not only articles, but also FAQ, Q&A, etc. Do you have any thoughts on that particular subject?
Yeah, I mean, here's the good news and the bad news, Rocky. The good news is you can use these tools to write schema, but you should handwrite the schema. Is our best experience. So you got to find a coder who can really write code.
Great. Next question is how do solos keep pace? So Eric is asking, how is it possible for solos to, get a foot in the door when it seems like the biggest budget is going to win, and they can absorb the cost of a lot of this effort that we're talking about here. How do you manage this as a solo or small firm?
Hey, the good news right now is that the AEOs, or the answer engines, are actually pretty democratized, and the little guys got a shot. Because in SEO, it was getting pretty much like the big boys, like Morgan was coming up for everything. And, your biggest 2 or 3 guys who produced thousands of pages of content in your marketplace were coming up for most of the best questions. Obviously the big guys were dominating pay-per-click. LSAs were a little bit more of an open playing field, but that seems to have changed, and it's favoring the brands. So the good news is it's relatively simple to do this stuff. And when I say that, there's one of the slides I shared earlier. Maybe if I show it, it makes it a little easier to understand. Can I get that slide back? So basically, if you just set yourself a simple goal, I'm going to answer 1 question a week. Ideally, you answer 1 a day. And all you have to do is shoot a video, and it's okay to shoot it with an iPhone, but you want to get yourself one of these, a little tripod, and you want to get a lavalier mic that you can plug the iPhone into, and just clip it on your jacket, and literally you can shoot it in your office, and you can shoot some with a like GoPro style or whatever. But all you need to do is answer questions. We talked about that earlier. Very, 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 relatively simple. And then you get yourself a twin turn. You probably have a twin turn, right, Maddie?
Winter?
A twin turn. You don't have one of those?
Is that an intern in the form of ChatGPT?
No, no, it's actually a Twitter intern.
Oh,
It's an old joke, but like an intern that you can do your Twitter. So um, I highly recommend like get a journalism student, someone who wants to build their portfolio, and for like $50 or $100 a month, they'll do what we call cascading and 10 golden rules. So like a river cascades over a waterfall and creates small rivers and little tributaries and little pools of water. We start with either an article or a YouTube. We answer a question, and then you can hand this off to your marketing team, or a Twitter intern, or a journalism student, or you can find people on Fiverr, or what's the other one? I'm just blanking on the name.
Upwork.
Fiverr for $5, for literally for $20, someone would take one video that you shoot and then put it everywhere. Create a blog, create a Facebook, create a Twitter, create a um, Snapchat, create, send it out in your newsletter, put it on your Google Maps for you. So it I forget if it was Rocky who asked the question, but if you're a solo, all I need you to do is sit down once a month and answer 4 questions. And literally every week, your intern is going to put it on YouTube, put it on your website, put it on your Facebook, your Twitter, your LinkedIn. And I promise you, within 2 or 3 months, everyone's going to start saying, "Oh, I see you all the time. I see you everywhere." And if you want to be a teeny bit more aggressive, like I said, you can do do 8 at a time, do 10 at a time, and let them do 2 or 3 a week. And if you're everywhere 2 or 3 times a week, that's enough to be super recognized as an expert.
Great answers.
Thank you.
We are all through the questions that we have, unless anyone wants to post any last minute questions. On George said, "What about Bing?" So you haven't talked a lot about Bing. Is that a channel that we should consider for AEO or AI overviews?
Yeah, Bing's becoming more important because AI, ChatGPT, and OpenAI are partnered with Microsoft. So Bing is definitely weighing in on these algorithms. Not huge, like we didn't see it come up in that profound study, but we're definitely seeing Bing results more commonly in some of these LLM results. But I've always said for years, like Google's 90% of the market, Bing's one of many in the other 10%. Spend most of your time on Google, and even today in this ChatGPT world, I would recommend focus on Google. ChatGPT's 5%. Great, great if what we do on Google works well for ChatGPT. And for the big, super big guys, obviously they can have a Bing strategy and a ChatGPT strategy and a Claude strategy and a Perplexity strategy. But I don't know too many of those big, super big guys.
Me neither. Yeah, I think the principles that you've shared here today are universally applicable to the search engines that are most relevant for you. So, Bing is probably not critical for being on your radar right now. If you can take some of the advice that Jay has shared today, you're bound to be successful in not worrying about Bing specifically, just looking at your traffic and the leads growing.
Maddie, what's your go-to? What's your favorite answer engine?
I use ChatGPT a lot because I have projects, as Logan mentioned in the chat, that I've trained specifically, loaded content into, and are tailored to my most recurring needs as a marketing and growth leader. So, when you start investing into one of these platforms, personally for me, I'm more likely to return to it because that's where I've invested the most energy and where the output is best.
I love it. I'm just looking at the chat, and someone summarized the chat with an AI.
Yes, yeah, their otter was a part of our conversation today.
Uh,
So yeah, thank you for joining. Lance, we're not taking any audio questions right now, but feel free to post your question in the chat if you'd like to. We've got a couple minutes left. Jay, anything that you would like to share at the end, how to reach you or your team if, folks here today or who are listening to the recording want to get in touch to learn more about your direct services for law firms?
Thank you for that. My company is 10 Golden Rules, tengoldenrules.com. And I'm Jay Berkowitz pretty much everywhere on the social media. There are a couple of very important Jay Berkowitzes, by the way. Dr. Jay Berkowitz, a lot of people know him. He's a big time chiropractor, and all the PI lawyers know him in Virginia. And Professor Jay Berkowitz, probably much more important to society, but I always beat them to the new social media and grab Jay Berkowitz. Jay Berkowitz on LinkedIn and all the socials, 10 Golden Rules. And we're happy to do a free AEO audit if anyone's interested and show you what we find in our research tools. And be great just to network with anyone. And I mentioned also our YouTube channel, tons of great content on this stuff, on old fashioned SEO, and I joke because it's still super important. Local service ads. We've got webinars on EOS and masterminds and a conference once a year down here in beautiful sunny South Florida.
Wonderful. Well, we will make sure to share this recording with all of you because I'm sure there's a lot that you want to digest repeatedly and go back to some of the wonderful advice that Jay shared with us today. Again, Jay, thank you so much for being here. Again, I'm Maddy Martin. I'm with Smith.ai. And if you're interested in having AI or live agents help you answer your phones, do intake, and schedule appointments, we would be happy to speak with you. You can learn more on our website, that's Smith.ai, and book a free consultation. Thank you so much for joining us today. Jay, see you soon. Thank you for the wonderful content. Just incredible that we had this whole hour with you for free. So many thanks for spending your time with us.
My pleasure. Thanks so much, Maddie.
Take care, everyone. Bye.